Hey there, and welcome to This Explainer. If you're a focused learner who absolutely loves breaking down cutting-edge tech, you are in the exact right place. Today, we're diving headfirst into a device that's literally shaking up the tech landscape, Samsung's massive new mixed reality headset, the Galaxy XR. We're going to strip it down, analyze the hardware, dissect the software, and figure out exactly what makes this device tick.
But right before we get into the weeds, we got to establish the stakes here. $1,799. That is the price tag for the Galaxy XR. It's absolutely crucial to understand right out of the gate that we're not talking about some casual, entry-level accessory. At nearly $1,800, this is a highly premium piece of hardware aimed at entirely redefining how we interact with digital space.
Okay, let's dive into this. To kind of ground this abstract piece of technology into an everyday concept we can all easily grasp, I want you to think about this quote from early hands-on reviewer Michael Hicks over at Android Central. He called it, "the laptop for your face you've been waiting for." I absolutely love this framing because it immediately tells us what this device aspires to be, right? It's not just a gaming console you strap to your head, it is designed to be a full-fledged computing platform.
Section 1. Welcome to Mixed Reality. So, brief history here. Even though this device was officially unveiled in late 2025, during its super secretive development phase, it went by a very specific code name, Project Muhan. Now, in Korean, Muhan actually translates to infinity. And this wasn't just a catchy name, it was a clear signal. Samsung wasn't aiming for some tiny incremental update. They were going for infinite possibilities in spatial computing.
And the hype cycle for this project was honestly incredibly strategic. Think about it chronologically. In December 2024, the underlying platform Android XR gets announced. By May 2025, early prototypes are already being shown off at Google I/O. Then, Samsung strategically dropped teasers during both their January and July 2025 Galaxy Unpacked events. They were methodically building up all this anticipation right up to that official October 2025 launch.
Section 2. The Big Tech Alliance. Now, to really understand why this massive alliance formed in the first place, you kind of have to understand the market's current biggest problem, which is the closed platform. This is a restrictive software and hardware ecosystem tightly controlled by a single company, and ultimately that limits your choices as a consumer. Well, the Galaxy XR was built to shatter those walled gardens. It was specifically designed to be the open ecosystem solution the industry desperately needed.
And this brilliantly illustrates how three tech giants perfectly divided the labor to make that happen. First, you have Samsung bringing their world-class expertise in hardware design. Then you have Google, leaders of the Open Handset Alliance, swooping in to create the dedicated Android XR operating system. And finally, Qualcomm engineering the highly specialized processing power required to run the whole shebang. A true power trio for sure.
Section 3. Under the hood. Let's start with the physical grounding of the device. Literally, its weight. The total package weighs in at 847 grams, but that weight is really cleverly split so you aren't straining your neck. The head-mounted unit itself is 545 grams, and it's balanced out by a super comfortable forehead cushion and a rear adjustment dial. The remaining 302 grams? That sits in an external wired battery pack. Offloading that battery weight maximizes comfort, giving you roughly 2 hours of general use. 27. I'm just going to pause for a second to let that metric really land with you.
Now, what's really interesting here is that this means 27 megapixels. That is the combined visual horsepower of the dual micro OLED displays packed inside this headset. To put that into perspective, that means crystal clear text and virtually zero screen door effect. We are talking about an astonishing resolution of 3552 by 3840 pixels per eye, and it's highly customizable, running at a default refresh rate of 72 Hz, but you can bump it up to an incredibly smooth 90 Hz, all with a massive sweeping field of view. 109 degrees horizontal and 100 degrees vertical.
Of course, driving literally millions of pixels requires massive computing power. Under the hood sits Qualcomm's Snapdragon XR2 Plus Gen 2 chip, backed by a hefty 16 GB of RAM and 256 GB of storage. It's also rocking cutting-edge Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 5.4. And for audio, you're getting integrated two-way speakers, so dedicated woofers and tweeters for each ear, alongside a really sophisticated 6-microphone array.
But a mixed reality headset is only as good as its awareness of the room. So, the Galaxy XR uses a highly complex sensor array to achieve 6 degrees of freedom inside-out tracking. That means the headset naturally knows exactly where you are moving in your physical space without needing any external beacon set up in your room.
It uses 2 front-facing cameras for full-color pass-through, 6 world-facing cameras to track your position, 4 internal cameras purely dedicated to tracking your eyes, plus a depth sensor, 5 IMUs, and a flicker sensor. It is an absolute powerhouse of spatial data collection. Section 4. Enter Android XR.
Let's move to the software and see how this builds on the hardware. See, legacy Android operating systems are confined to a single 2D flat screen, right? Like a phone or a tablet. Well, Android XR entirely shatters that limitation. According to Google, it actually takes your existing 2D apps directly from the Play Store and places them into multiple, resizable windows dynamically arranged right there within your 3D physical room. You're no longer just looking at a screen, you are literally inside the workspace.
Now, you might be wondering, without a touchscreen, how do you actually click on things? Well, the primary input methods leverage that massive sensor array we just talked about. You navigate using pure hand tracking, highly precise eye tracking, and voice commands. But for users who still want that tactile feedback for specific games or intense productivity tasks, Samsung does offer optional physical Galaxy XR controllers, though they're sold separately for $249.
On top of all that, this interface is smart. Like really smart. Android XR integrates Google's Gemini AI assistant, which is contextually aware. That basically means it understands your physical environment and exactly what you're looking at. Developers are already jumping on board using universal support tools like OpenXR, WebXR, Unity, and Jetpack XR. We're actually seeing early third-party apps take advantage of this right now, like MLB's app featuring this crazy 3D player visualization, and Adobe's video editor, Project Pulsar.
Section 5. The final verdict.
Looking at this impartially, early reception has been highly favorable toward the physical engineering, though with some notable caveats on the software side. Reviewers and users alike have heavily praised the unmatched comfort and physical balance of the hardware. Many have stated it flat-out provides the highest resolution VR experience they've ever seen. Plus, the seamless compatibility with legacy Android apps has been hailed as a massive advantage. However, multiple early users have reported that while the displays are stunning, the actual user interface of Android XR still requires further refinement to achieve true perfection.
So, the crucial point is this. Samsung, Google, and Qualcomm have undoubtedly delivered a technical marvel. They built the open ecosystem powerhouse they promised. But a massive question remains. Will full Android compatibility and an absolutely elite hardware spec sheet be enough to overcome the broader consumer market's historical disinterest toward mixed reality? Is the laptop for your face finally here to stay? That is the billion-dollar question the industry will be watching closely. Thank you for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.